Hey everybody, Edo here, and this is a little bit of a new one. I'm not on my big camera setup, not doing the normal thing. I was just online on Facebook and read this comment from Daniel Zayas that I just disagree with so completely, so fully. I was like, I need to film a video and make it clear how much I disagree with his statement. So, let's talk about said statement. This was on the tabletop game Kickstarter advice. This may be rocking the boat situation. This may be a rocking the boat situation, so bear with me. Be more aggressive with your pricing. A distributor won't look at a new creator's game in today's market until you have at least 1,000 backers. So why are you trying to fund with a game which is priced for distribution if you barely make 1,000 units total and fund with 300 backers? Crypt is on Kickstarter now for $9. The creators admitted they won't start making money until 1,000 units were sold. They are not hurting for that decision now. Crypt has been a successful campaign. I said that. My advice, forget the distributor 5x model until you have enough support in the campaign to warrant scales of economy to kick in at 5,000 or 10,000 units, which is a huge number of units. That's me saying that. This is especially true for new creators. Price your game to be attractive to backers and maybe only charge 2x or 3x. Your obligation is to manufacture a game and fulfill to backers and ship the rest of the units to a warehouse. Edit comment again, though. There's no obligation for you to ship to warehouses, but whatever. Don't overprice your game based on the high production costs comparably of the minimum 1,000 units. Look at the difference in unit price between 1,000 and 10,000 units and try to make the distribution 5x work for a 10,000 unit situation and not the 1K unit situation. If you are making 1K units, it won't be for a distributor. So, what are the different things that bother me about this? First and foremost, it is supposing that the way you should be thinking about your pricing at all on your on your campaign and how you're thinking about how much to charge for the product has to do with this retail model or your 1X model or your pricing for manufacturing. Like you shouldn't be thinking about that. You should be thinking about a few things. One, the value proposition of the game and the market's appetite for that game at that value proposition or at that price point. What's a good price for your game? What's a good price for your game on Kickstarter? Now, in some ways, he is saying that. But part of that is what's the retail, expected retail MSRP or just observed comparative MSRP? Because that's something backers are thinking about all the time. So you really need to have that in your mind. And then you also need to think about, again, what is the best value to sell for given what's in the box, what's being sold, and what the perceived value from a backer situation is. Okay? So it's not that he's saying things entirely wrong, it's just that it's framing it in a way that I think is dangerous. The other piece of it is that from a price perspective, you should be understanding all of the costs. Not a rule of thumb of 2, rule of thumb of 3, rule of thumb of 4. You need to understand the cost to manufacture, the cost to ship, the cost to deal with mistakes in shipment and fallout, cost to finish your art, how much money you have in the bank. Like, this is a simplification of an equation you need to do that takes into account way more than how much is it at 1,000 units and how much of it is at 10,000 units. 2, who's printing 10,000 units? Like, the idea as a Kickstarter creator that you should be like saying, well, I need to be thinking about 10,000 units or go, like, that's a huge, huge print run. It's a huge print run. Now, these massive campaigns that are really successful do hit those kinds of print runs, but the idea that you can't get into distribution unless you print 10,000 units is nuts. Is nuts. Is nuts. Most games won't move that many units, right? It's like, I mean, I don't know if Daniel's still working for Longpack and he's trying to get people to go from 5,000 units to 10,000 units and manufacture more, but you better believe your game. I mean, like, to make a 10,000 unit bet at retail is a huge bet. It's a huge bet. And it's a huge bet even for campaigns that have done well. Also, I just take issue with the idea that games can't get into retail if they don't have 1,000 backers. Tons of games get into retail without 1,000 backers. All the time, in all different sorts of ways. Some of them are with distributors, some are with consolidators, some are working directly, as a couple people in the comment have said, with a retail tier and that. But like, there are some good thoughts and perspectives and things worth thinking on in there, and having a conversation around and understanding the dynamics. But that is not the advice you should be taking as a creator when you are thinking about this. You have to think about so much more stuff, so much more specifically and broadly than to sit down and say, hey, you know, if the numbers work at 10,000 units, then that's how you should think about your retail price. But if it's like, for what it's worth, I actually think that a 4x or 5x, that kind of range, is pretty healthy to be thinking about for all the pitfalls and problems and potential issues you might have on a Kickstarter, right? Like all you do by having no margin and no profit built in and are losing money unless you go big is go broke. Like, all you are setting yourself up is to be the other 90% of people who aren't successful, but aren't successful and are now broke because of a device like this. So, consider it. Consider my feedback. Consider all the feedback you can. But if you are a new creator, which I feel like messages like this are targeted against, you really need to be thinking about all the steps and where all the money is going. And Daniel might feel like, well, this is just complimentary comment to what I said, and it's not contrary, and that's fine. I just wouldn't take that advice. I would maybe consider that comment in the grand scheme of things. So anyway, rant over. Thanks a lot. Bye. Hey everybody, Edo here, and thanks for watching Gaming with Edo. Reviews over here on this playlist, League and Insider videos over here on this one. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But most importantly, play some great games. Thanks. Bye.